Hi, welcome along to Footballfantv, and this is our transfer show. We're going to start off the show today with the big news this week, the news that Neymar has moved from Santos in Brazil to Barcelona. Caught lots of people out by surprise, I think particularly Real Madrid, who are also interested in signing him, but probably one of the biggest names in world football, Neymar, is going to Barcelona, and how exciting is that going to be next season at Barcelona with Messi and Neymar in the same team? I mean, it's going to be like Harlem Globetrotter style football down there. Of course, Real Madrid must be very upset, even though they're trying to say they're not that upset about it because of the price. They must be very upset that they didn't get Neymar because he's been a long-term target of Real Madrid. So they're probably going to turn their attentions now to who? Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale and his agent's been over in Spain talking up Gareth Bale and saying that he'd be keen on a move, even though Tottenham are saying they don't want to sell him. If the money's right, Gareth Bale's going to move. I mean, let's face it, he's going to want to play Champions League football, playing for Real Madrid. So that's the big talk at the moment, Gareth Bale. Or maybe Real Madrid might move for Edison Cavani, another big name in football that would come to their club and enhance them. Maybe that may be the target. Or could it be Luis Suarez? Suarez this week over in Uruguay talking up and saying that he wants to leave Liverpool. The press, he said, have been giving him a hard time. The press, not that he's done anything, right? The press have been giving him a hard time. But apparently he would love to move to Real Madrid. And of course, Liverpool, no Champions League football this season. Real Madrid have it. That's why it's so important to get into the Champions League. So which one of those players will Real Madrid go for? There's one thing for sure. They're going to have to make some kind of marquee signing to respond to Barcelona getting Neymar. Now, there's a new billionaire on the block, and he goes by the name of Dmitry Robbie. Hope I pronounced that right. And he is the owner of Monaco. Now, Monaco, they were in the French second division, been promoted now to the League One first division in France, and they've got money to burn. He's already signed Martinho, and he's signed James Rodriguez from Porto for a sum of nearly 50 million. And he's about to sign one of the hottest names in world football, Falcao. Falcao moving to Monaco, not for Champions League football. What's he moving there for? Money. He's going to be one of the highest paid footballers in the world. And of course, living in Monaco is, number one, it's a very beautiful place to live. And number two, when you live there, tax-free. You haven't got to pay any taxes. And as a matter of fact, it's caused a lot of fuss in France because a lot of the French clubs have been complaining that Monaco don't have to, their players that come along don't have to pay any tax, whilst all the other teams in France, there's a real draconian tax law that's just come in France where some of these players are going to have to pay up to 75% of their wages in tax. So they're saying that Monaco have got an unfair advantage. But one thing's for sure, Monaco are building some sort of team at the moment. They're also rumoured to be interested in Carlos Tevez at the moment from Manchester City. So definitely they're going to be one to watch next season. Monaco with the Russian billionaire, it looks like a new Chelsea but over in France. Now let's take a look at the English clubs. Obviously, they're going to be doing a lot of business. Let's start with the champions, Manchester United, linked with a lot of players, as they always are. One of the players that they've been linked with very heavily is Cesc Fabregas. Yes, Arsenal fans, Cesc Fabregas used to play for Arsenal, now at Barcelona, heavily linked with Manchester United. Manchester United do lack that creative player in midfield, and Cesc would be the answer for them. Whether they be able to get him or not is a different matter because apparently Arsenal have first refusal on Cesc Fabregas if Barcelona decide to sell, or they can get up to 50% of any transfer fee. So that means that if Barcelona did decide to sell Cesc Fabregas, they'd have to sell him at a really inflated price in order to make some sort of profit. So you're going to have to watch this space on this one. Cesc Fabregas, also interested in Manchester City, by the way. Another player heavily linked at the moment to Manchester United is Robert Lewandowski. Looks like, and the rumours that have been flying around for quite a while is that he's going to go to Bayern Munich, but he's been very heavily linked with a move to Manchester United, and he would suit them down to the ground, although they do already have Robin van Persie and Wayne Rooney. That, of course, is if Wayne Rooney decides to stay. It's still all up in the air. Wayne Rooney linked to Arsenal, linked to Chelsea. Whether he'll stay on now that David Moyes is in place at Manchester United, that's another thing that we're going to have to wait and see. But certainly lots of activity floating around Manchester United at the moment. Of course, with David Moyes now the manager of Manchester United, he's also been heavily linked with a move for Leighton Baines. Now, I don't know where that will fit in because, of course, Manchester United already got Patrice Evra there. But Leighton Baines has been heavily linked, the England left-back, to come in for Manchester United. And, of course, he's excellent at set pieces, an excellent left-back. And it seems to make sense that that will be a possible move. And also Marian Fellaini. Marian Fellaini, the hard man in midfield, another player strongly linked with Manchester United. I'm not sure if they need him, but with the David Moyes connection, it could be a player that will leave from Everton and join Manchester United. What about Manchester City then? Who are they going to buy? I mean, they've always got loads and loads of money in their pockets, and they go out and they buy anybody they can. They seem to be a bit more limited at the moment, but one player that they've been very heavily linked with is Edinson Cavani. Edinson Cavani is a player that interests Manchester City a lot, and they would be able to stump up the £50 million that Napoli are looking for Cavani. Another player that is interested in him is Robert Lewandowski. He's also interested in Manchester United. And Isco, the talented midfielder who plays at the moment for Malaga, who's already said he's up for leaving. He is another player who is interested in Manchester City. Of course, they're about to get a brand new manager, Emmanuel Pellegrini, who manages Isco at the moment. So that one looks like a likely signing that Isco may follow him to Manchester City if he doesn't go to Real Madrid, that is. Now we're going to move on to Arsenal, heavily linked with loads of players at the moment. One of those players that they've been heavily linked with is Gonzalo Higuain, the striker who plays for Real Madrid. Excellent striker, is a player that Arsene Wenger is very, very interested in signing. But there are also teams like Juventus that are very interested in Higuain. Another target for Arsene Wenger has been Stevan Jovetic. They've been talking about him since the January transfer window. That is a signing that may happen. He costs about £20 million from Fiorentina, but Wenger seems to be very, very keen on the Montenegrin. And yet another player that has been talked about going to Arsenal for such a long time is the defensive midfielder Etienne Capoue. Capoue, holding midfielder, the player that Arsenal really lack at the moment. That is a player who's been strongly linked with a move for Arsenal. But you know what it's like with Arsene Wenger. You never know. It's like dealing with the MI5. You never know what he's going to do until he does it. So what about Spurs then? Missed out on the Champions League places, so when that happens, that puts you into real problems in getting certain players. But the player that they've been heavily linked with is David Villa. David Villa of Barcelona. Spurs definitely need a striker. You could see that from last season. And David Villa seems to fit the bill for them. Will cost them probably around about the 10 million mark. And it seems like they're very keen on him. They're also keen on a player that they seem to be linked with every single year, but never end up buying. And that's the Brazilian Leandro Di Meao. I think I pronounced that right. They've been linked with him yet again. Will he come? I mean, if he's going to come, he's going to have to come now. But I think the biggest problem for Spurs this summer is going to be holding on to Gareth Bale. I mean, there are many people in Spurs who said Gareth Bale's not leaving and he's not going anywhere, but no Champions League football. His agent was over in Real Madrid the other day saying that, he's better than Neymar, come and get him. It looks to me that could be one of the hardest things for Spurs this season, and that is holding on to their prize asset, Gareth Bale. The Hawks are definitely circling. Chelsea, of course, have been linked to just about everyone, and of course, Jose Mourinho is going to be coming in there. We all know that, the worst kept secret in football. Who's he going to bring in? Well, Cavani, again, is a player that's been heavily linked with a move to Chelsea. Also Lewandowski and also Wayne Rooney. Those players heavily linked at the moment to Chelsea. We know one thing about the Chelsea, they've got the money to make it happen if it's going to happen. So you're going to have to watch this space. And if they strengthen, Chelsea definitely going to be one of the favourites to win the Premier League next season because they already have such a strong squad. What about Liverpool? Well, it's really trying times for Liverpool. They, of course, didn't get into the Champions League, so they've got no Champions League football to offer to players coming in. They've been linked with a move for this player, Ispas, from Celta Vigo, a striker. Played really well last season, scored over 20 goals for Celta Vigo, and is interested in Brendan Rodgers a lot. But again, just like Spurs, and just like what Arsenal found last season, their summer is going to be very hard because they're going to have to try and hold on to their prize assets, which, of course, is Luis Suarez. And as I said earlier in the show, Suarez seems to be angling for a move to Real Madrid. Now, if Suarez goes, will Ispas be able to fill the space? I don't think so. Suarez is a world-class player, and Liverpool really, really need to try and hang on to him. Well, that's all the transfer rumours. Just before I go, we've got to just mention the real merry-go-round of managers that's going on at the moment. I mean, Mourinho's coming in at Chelsea. Mark Hughes is going to be at Stoke City. Pellegrini's coming in at Manchester City. Moyes has taken over at Manchester United. I mean, it's going to be an incredible season in the Premier League with so many new managers in there trying to bed themselves in and so many new players coming in. One thing for sure, it's going to be a really exciting summer, and we're going to be covering it all here on Football Fan TV. Thank you for tuning in.